and welcome to Money Matters with Shannon Jackson. On today's show, the Christmas countdown is on. The big day is drawing near, but are you feeling stressed? If you are not the only one. Surveys show Canadians this year are finding holiday gift shopping stressful. But while they may be stressed about the season, polls show they're willing to spend to make the season merry and bright, even if it means taking on some debt. So, how do you avoid holiday debt so you're not seeing red long after the holidays are over? Joining me now with advice is Joel Grisé, Director and Licensed Insolvency Trustee with BDO Debt Solutions. Joel, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Shannon. What a great time to be talking about this.
Absolutely. Before we sort of get into our main discussion, can you just share a little bit about what you do at BDO and what your role is there?
Absolutely. So I'm a licensed insolvency trustee. And really what that means is that I'm licensed by the federal government to help individuals and families who are struggling with debt find a solution, a viable solution to get out of it. So at the end of the day, I'm licensed to do consumer proposals, and I can also do bankruptcies. And the whole idea behind those is to give individuals and families a fresh start from their debt. And just, we talked about some statistics. Every month, 8,000 people in Canada file a consumer proposal, and approximately 2,000 people file a bankruptcy. That's like 10,000 people per month in Canada do that. And, it's not always about overspending. It's most of the time it's triggered by, things that happen in life, right? Separation, divorce, health problems. And a lot of times too, it's just this overall extension of credit over time, and you find yourself maxed out everywhere. And this is a great time of year to be talking about that, to avoid those pitfalls.
You're absolutely right, because we are heading into that time of year. It's the most wonderful time of year with the holidays approaching. Now, Canadians expect the season will mean some added financial strain on some already tight household budgets. There's a recent survey from Rakuten Canada, which revealed that more than half of Canadians, about 54%, find that holiday gift shopping is stressful, and 56% say budgeting for the holidays adds that extra pressure that's already on a busy season. So, Joel, when you hear these stats, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm a little concerned about those statistics. You're absolutely right, Shannon. At the end of the day, Christmas shouldn't be a time for stress, right? At its heart, it's supposed to be about spending time with family, creating memories, connecting. Somewhere along the way, I think we started to lose sight of that. And that's why at this moment, before the real hustle and bustle of the season starts to begin, it's the time to pause, reflect, and reflect on what's truly important, right? And gift shopping can be stressful. I know the feeling, right, of walking in the mall. You have no idea what you're buying, and you're just hoping that something catches your eye for that person that you're looking for. And at the end of when you do find that thing, hopefully you do, most of the time, the cost of it becomes secondary. We're just so excited to find something that we spend more on it than we had anticipated. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it should be a time of year where we're focusing on spending it with our family and friends, but we've added this extra pressure on ourselves that comes with this monetary problem that we have to face. And you're absolutely right. When you're wandering around the mall trying to find something for that one person, the mall's about to close in half an hour, and it's 2 days before Christmas. It can be very stressful, absolutely. And we're going to get into some advice in the second half.
It's like going grocery shopping on an empty stomach. right?
That's
It's the
right.
same concept.
Yeah,
If you start early, if you eat before you go, if you bring a list, chances are you will spend accordingly. When you're stressed
that's
out at
it.
the end of the day, you just want to get home and you're hungry, we end up overspending.
That's exactly right. It takes some planning before the season starts. Absolutely. Now, despite I think maybe some of this added pressure that people are feeling as we head into the Christmas season, it seems that many Canadians are expecting to spend quite a bit on gifts this year. 45% anticipate spending over $500 on gifts, and 1 in 5 people say that they will surpass 1,000 for gifts this year. Now, Joel, when you hear that, are you a little bit surprised as to how much people are planning on spending this year?
Am I surprised by what people are planning to spend? Honestly, no. I'm not surprised. When you look at at all of the expenses, not just gifts, like you said, right? It's the food. It's the turkey now is, I bought a turkey for Thanksgiving. It was $50, right? We're serving a group. It's baking, it's travel, it's decorations, it's your holiday parties. All those costs add up very quickly. And, many families spend well above that average that we hear about. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to keep up with what we see around us. And in some ways, I'm surprised the average isn't even a little bit higher. It really does sort of feel like the holiday season starts earlier and earlier and earlier every year, right? I see Christmas deck. Well, I went to Canadian Tire yesterday and I walked in there, and the first thing is Christmas decorations. There were no songs. I didn't hear the songs, but as soon as you walked in, there was wrapped gifts, and you walked through, and they had all the trees are all up already, right?
Yep.
So,
And that's what we're all seeing.
Well, it's not by accident, Shannon. Retailers
Exactly.
know that the longer we're surrounded by holiday messaging, and the more we want to buy, it creates like a sense of urgency. And I even felt it yesterday going in. I was like, oh my God, I gotta start shopping. We still have 2 months ahead, but it really, we have to sort of take this moment now and just stop, reflect, and make sure that we do things purposefully as opposed to chaotically.
Yeah, I agree with you. There was a recent, a survey from PwC said that Canadians spend an average of $1,675 on gifts, travel, and entertainment. So all of those things added together, $1,675 over the holiday season. So that's a huge amount of spending. And I agree with you. It starts earlier and earlier every year. It feels like Christmas comes in October. And I don't know about you, but I'm seeing this increase in the external house decorations. I don't know whether you've seen this, but there's definitely, it seems, um, you can see it,
Competition?
the keeping up with the Joneses kind of situation. Even if when I look at my own street, um, there's one neighbor that has all the inflatables out and it's lots of fun. The next year, the next neighbor might have a few, and then it trickles down. So suddenly there's 3, 4, 5 houses all in a row that have these decorations out. And so I think we do feel that pressure
Keeping up
when
with the
we see.
Joneses is a real thing, Shannon. It really is. We all feel
Absolutely.
it. You see your neighbor doing something, you're like, oh, I don't want to be that house that doesn't have stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly right. And I see it on my own street. I see it around town. So I definitely see an increase in that, in those types of spending. Now, of course, a lot of people, unfortunately, might be using their credit to supplement these extra costs. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow. We know a lot of people use credit to do that. I mean, there's no doubt about it. If you're using credit because you can't afford it, which means that there's no savings anywhere to be paying off that credit card. Because honestly, I always look at it that credit should be used for convenience, right? So I'll take a different example than Christmas, but it's the same concept. You have a car repair that's $500, and you go to your mechanic, and he says $500. So you give him your credit card. Now there's two scenarios here. There's scenario A. There's no backup. That's how we're going to pay it, and that $500, over time is going to cost $600 or $700 or even more. And that's the red flag. If you're using a credit card because it's convenient and you have an amount of money in your savings account or that you have access to pay off that credit card in a week or two or whenever it is before interest starts kicking in, then I don't see a red flag with that. It's kind of the purpose of having a credit card.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there has been reports from TransUnion and Equifax Canada already that people are currently struggling to keep up with their monthly minimum payments, even now. And as we head into the holidays, that pressure will just increase as you move into January and February. So it's definitely a caution that we want people to be aware of, that if you are using the credit, hopefully you're using it as a convenience. Absolutely right. Any other sort of thoughts on how people can maybe handle this extra pressure that we're feeling over the holidays?
Well, yes. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do, right? A lot of things. We could start saving in January. Great, right? So this time of year, it's not a big issue. The other thing is to really ring back our spending. We don't have a lot of say, or we don't have a lot of control over how much we spend on gas or groceries, but we do have control over how much we spend during the holiday season, right? This is up to us. It's not, you can call it whatever you want, all this fluff outside, pulling and pushing us to spend and do that, but we're not puppets. Right? At the end of the day, we're not puppets. We can make that decision to make a budget, figure out who you want to buy for, put dollar amounts, or actually the other way is better. Find out how much you can afford, and then allocate those dollars to who you want to spend for. And starting today, if we don't have any money in our savings account, it's also a good idea to have a good discussion with family and say, hey, do we do Kris Kringle this year? Do we gift exchange? Do we do something different? So that, and I bet you'd be surprised on how many members of your family would be like, thank God somebody said something.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And we're going to have some excellent things that we're going to talk about in the second half. More tips and tricks to how to keep that holiday spending just a little bit down and hopefully avoid that holiday debt. That's all coming up when Money Matters returns after the break.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
I love being a champ.
I am a member of the Warham's Child Amputee Program. Through CHAMP, I get the artificial limbs I need to participate in everyday activities.
I'm always growing, so I always need new devices.
Support and helpful information on living with an amputation is available to me anytime.
I get to meet other kids that are just like me.
It's your donations that make the Warham's CHAMP program possible. Thank you.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Welcome back to Money Matters with Shannon Jackson. My guest today is Joel Grisé, Director and Licensed Insolvency Trustee at BDO Debt Solutions. And today's topic is avoiding holiday debt. As you heard before the break, surveys show that many shoppers, including many here in Ontario, are ready to spend to make this season festive, even if it means taking on debt. Now, Joel, I want to switch the focus now to giving some advice for our viewers, especially to those who are maybe already experiencing that stress associated with the season and worried about the extra costs that come with this time of year? Because, you know, this is a season that, or I should say, this is not the season that this should be about, right?
No, it really should not be a stressor. We talked about that earlier. It would be very nice if at this time of year, if we all had a little pool of money that we could just go into and spend what we budgeted for. And then come the first week of January, look back, have no Christmas debt, start planning for next year. And we can all do it, right? We can all do that. And holidays shouldn't be about spending, you know, it should be about spending time with the people that we love. Like my favorite part of Christmas is a winter bonfire. I was reflecting on this, and what do I love to do around Christmas time is I go shovel around the fire pit and I make this huge bonfire, and we all sort of put our drinks in the snow and enjoy time with each other. And it got me thinking that costs me nothing. There is no cost for that. And it's my favorite time, right? I think that we should just let go of all the gifts altogether.
Yeah, I agree. That would be lovely.
That might just be me.
Well, let's get into some advice for our viewers because they're feeling some stress. What kind of things or what kind of maybe tips that you might have on helping them create that holiday budget?
Yeah. So, you know, first of all, what is the stress, right? Is it there's not enough time? Is it that we don't have enough money? Is it both? Because it's usually time and money, right? That creates that, or you might have a relative that's visiting that causes you stress, but that shouldn't be the case. However, if it's money, okay, so if we're sitting here and we're stressed out about the fact that Christmas is coming and there's really no money, well, that's a tough one, right? We have literally if you get paid biweekly, between now and Christmas, there's 4 paychecks left, give or take. So if we wanted to spend $500, then that's $125 per pay to put against Christmas. Now, is that feasible? Is that something that you think that you can do? Because that becomes what you need to do to get through Christmas without debt, right? If it's time that's the situation, then we need to sort of start now, plan who you want to buy for, allocate some funds, talk to family about a Kris Kringle, like a gift exchange. And those gifts exchange can be fun. I don't know if you've ever done one, but I've been to some holiday parties where we each bring a gift. It's $20, right? And you wrap it up and it's just a generic gift, and you play this game that the gifts go around in circles, and then you end up with whatever gift. And then after that, you can trade it off with somebody else, and it turns into more fun than sitting there opening gift after gift on Christmas morning.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like how you sort of talked about, well, we've only got a certain amount of time between now and Christmas. So if the cash flow is the problem, you've got the next 4 paychecks to sort of figure that out. One of the things that I highly recommend to people is starting that planning much earlier. Obviously, that doesn't work for everyone. But one of the things when you're looking at maybe setting up a budget or some kind of a financial plan for the upcoming year, one of the things that I encourage people to do is not only just look at your regular monthly expenses that you have all the time, but think about those things that come up once or twice a year, like Christmas and holidays and birthdays, maybe Costco memberships or things that you don't pay. Car repairs, right? Exactly. Back to school. It's thinking about those things that come up every, once a year, and working that into your monthly budget, because you can estimate how much you'll spend for those things for the year. Set aside a monthly amount And then as the year goes on, you have that set aside already in cash, ready to go. And the feeling of the stress really drops because you know that you're able to handle it from there. Because maybe you want to talk about the risk of using high interest rate credit cards.
I'd like to just back up to what you just said, because
Yeah.
that is so important. It's the most important piece of what we are talking about today, and that's starting early. And it's not saving for Christmas. You nailed it on the head. It's about all those other little things that come up that aren't month to month to month to month. So if you say, well, geez, it's going to cost me $1,000 for my car, it's going to cost me $500 for Christmas, it's going to cost me $300 for back to school, that's $1,800. It's $150 a month, it's $75 a pay. And if you have a savings account, just set up for those emergencies, and every month, every time you get paid, put $75 in that bank account. Every time something comes up, there's a cushion there for you. So we're not stressed out over it. We're not panicking. The money's there, right? So that is a great tool to get to next year. If we do end up, the issue with using credit is that there's no end to this, right? Because usually you're using credit. It's not like you have zero balance on your credit card and you're starting to use credit on now. Typically, if you're using credit for Christmas, you've already used credit for that car repair last month, and you've already used credit. So chances are we've already have some debt that needs to be taken care of. And if we want to reduce the stress, we need to eliminate that debt, and we can do that over time.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's lots of other sort of tips and tricks that people could maybe use when they're thinking about if they're specifically shopping about gifts or, anything like that. I mean, I love the idea of just making homemade things for people. Or there's great little sort of kitchen gifts that you can give people where you put a recipe in a jar and you have those types of options. Or do you have any other sort of hacks maybe that viewers could use to maybe cut down on the holiday spending?
Yeah. What about just like a shared experience, right? Something that we can sort of all do together. So instead of having a gift, make it a memory, make it something that's meaningful, because meaningful gifts is really typically less expensive, right? Like you said, a meaningful gift is something that you made, something that you've taken time and energy and effort to do, not necessarily a lot of money, but a lot of effort. And you could even say, I'll shovel your walk for the month of January and February. That's my gift to you, especially if you're talking to somebody that might be a little bit elderly. That's what a gift that is, right? It costs nothing, makes you feel good about it. So those types of things, and if you actually look at Googling meaningful gifts, it will give you hundreds of ideas on what to do, on how to do it. I really would recommend having a look, because everybody's different. Everybody has different ideas and things that are meaningful to them. But if you look at that, there's quite a few.
Yeah, I agree. So there's lots of ways to keep down those costs during the holiday season. Now, of course, one of the other costs that we sometimes face is maybe the many celebrations that we might get invited to with family and friends, or, employers and things like that. So this time of year, you may find yourself inundated with some invitations for some holiday celebrations. And so, Joel, do you have sort of any advice on maybe how not to get wrapped up in that holiday or the festive FOMO maybe that we might be feeling when it comes to these other celebrations?
Well, yeah. So first of all, realize that we don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
Like you can say no to things or make up an excuse on why you don't want to go to this one or that one, because honestly, not all of the parties are like, ooh, I want to go to that party. So we can say no. That's a big one, right? because the FOMO, fear of missing out, is a real thing, right? We all feel it all the time. Avoid social media. Understand that the people that are posting on social media about how wonderful everything is not. It really isn't. People that really, in my heart of heart, that are having a great time, don't post it on social media. Mm-hmm. Right? So if we can just understand what it is, and let's talk about Halloween for a minute. That happens quickly, right? It's one day. Even Christmas, it's a one-day event that we stress out over, and the next day it's forgotten. Mm-hmm. So if we understand that, then we will realize that we don't have to do it all. We don't have to buy all the gifts. We can tailor it down, and everybody is going to have a great time. And have a meeting with your family. Like I said earlier, you'd be surprised on how many of them are going to say, woof, thank God you brought that up, because it's right. Everyone's feeling the crunch these days.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Do you have any advice? Now, you're a parent of older kids. I have a young daughter. Do you have any advice for the parents of young children for this period of time that we're coming up to for Christmas?
It's funny you say that, because I'm at a point now that my family is growing, right? So every year it seems that I have other people to buy for, because my kids are in their 20s and now early 30s, and they all have significant others all of a sudden. Well, how do you manage that, right? Is the budget the same now? Do I have to double the budget? These are real questions, and there's no real answer. You do what's right. But if my daughter gets married, do they both get half the budget? Or do I have to give out more money for that, right? And now I have a grandchild, so my daughter gave me a grandson. Well, this year won't be very much, but as time goes by and the kids keep coming, where does all of this end, right? So true. Growing up and having a young family, I felt the pinch. I was there. I felt how. Why am I buying for mom and dad and my brother and his girlfriend? And it seemed like there was no end to this. And one of the things that my mother did was said, hey, listen, we need to have a discussion here about how we should all be managing Christmas.
Yeah. Well, Joel, I really appreciate all the information that you were able to give us. And I want to thank you, our viewers, for watching. And we especially want to thank all of you a very happy holiday season. Until next time, I'm Shannon Jackson.
Thank you very much.